Hey y'all, welcome to Cornbread and Roses. Happy Black History Month. While we got it, or did it already get taken away? I'm your friendly neighborhood organizer, Austin, and I'm here tonight with Jason.
Hello, comrades.
All right, and we're the most unprofessional podcast in the state of Alabama, as you'll. Yeah, I'd like to start with a quote today. Um, Before we get into the headlines, the actions that are happening tomorrow, and kind of reviewing what goes on at the state down there. The old world is dying, and the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. So yeah, that's
Like Bransky.
thinking Tony. Yeah, that's that man. You nailed it. I knew you would know that quote. How did I know that? But, all right. Say we've been organizing up here, y'all. I dropped in the chat already. 5 calls, which is something you can do to take some action, apply some pressure, put some psychological weight on the powers that be. But there's a big day in Alabama tomorrow and across the nation. The fine folks of 50, 50 and 1. I guess that's how we say it. 50, 51. I don't know. Still figuring that out. But there's going to be protests all across the state. I was not able to locate the Montgomery protest, but I'm going to put up here some of the protests that are happening. This one's in Huntsville at Big Spring Park from 4 to 6. You know, be there, be square, all that. We also have in Birmingham another one. We the people bow to no king, and that's going to be at Lynn Park from 2 to 6. And there's parking available. We've got one down in Mobile at the Government Plaza, and that gum starting at noon. I was about to say it. Am I missing the time on there? Starting at noon tomorrow. Additionally, there's some other groups. The Indivisible group is going to have a protest starting at 12 in Birmingham tomorrow at Robert S. Vance Federal Building. And further on this month, there is an economic blackout trying to be planned for Friday, February 28th for 24 hours. And, you know, basically boycotting all economic actions for that entire day. If you got to buy something, buy local, you know, no gas, no food, stay away from Walmart, Target, Amazon, all the chains. If you do need something, buy. Here are some results. Buy from a local business. Yeah. And if you look down there, there's a jointhepeoplesunion.com where you can get more information on that. Welcome, Jolly Green Giant. Good to see you as always. Let's fucking go. That's right. Let's fucking go. All right. So, Jason, you had a little meeting today. How'd that go for y'all?
It went great. So they started having progressive coffee socials in Florence, just like we have in Huntsville. So we meet every in Huntsville. We meet every Saturday from 11 to 1 at Goldsprint Coffee. Just to have an informal chat and get to know people who are left leaning in Alabama and strategize and plot and plan what we're going to do in response to the second Trump administration and everything that the Alabama legislature is doing. And they started a similar meeting in Florence. We had about 20 people there. So that's going to be at Court Street Books in Florence every Sunday from 1 to 3. We had a productive conversation, made a lot of great contacts. And yeah, we're going to be doing letter writing out there and organizing protests and other good activities. So
outstanding. So we were off last week, and well, the Alabama legislature sure wasn't off. Yeah. But before we get to all that, I'm going to highlight a couple other things that happened. We had on February 5th at the legislature, there was a big rally and protest, and there was actually the 50-51 people were down there a little bit before this and joined this group. And there was a lot of great speakers. Actually, some of the elected Democratic representatives spoke. I think 3 of them. There was, I didn't get to catch all the speakers, but yeah, there were quite a few. And if you look on Facebook, you should be able to find video of all of them out there. But this was really driven by group All Track, which we've, sung their praises from on high. Just about every show, it seems like, but they do the work, folks. But I'll quickly read here. As the Alabama legislature again considers restrictions on LGBTQ related topics and events, more than 200 Alabama residents marched in Montgomery on Wednesday. I thought it was more like 300. And on top of that, there were probably at least another 100 Alabama Coalition for Immigrant Justice were there. Alabama Arise was there. I can't remember all the different groups that I saw there, but it was packed out. Protesters called for support for LGBTQ residents and legal protections, which they say are under threat from lawmakers. In recent years, the state has limited discussion of so-called divisive topics in schools and also limited transgender people's access to school and college bathrooms, sports teams, and medical treatment. Lawmakers have pre-filed bills that would again target some library activities and school and camp bathroom use. In a time of hate, love is a kind of resistance, said Marge Ragona, a 95-year-old pastor and activist. In a time of fear, faith is a kind of resistance. In a time of misinformation, education is a kind of resistance. I did get to hear her speech. It was quite lovely. In her State of the State address Tuesday, Governor Kay Ivey pledged support for the controversial What is a Woman bill pre-filed by Representative Susan DuBose, Republican Hoover, that would define sex-based terms and apply them only to people's sex at birth. So, if you don't know, we're all women now, y'all. We're all women. There are only 2 genders, male and female. I look forward to finally putting my signature on the What is a Woman bill by Representative Susan DuBose, Ivey said. Just completely ignoring, tens of thousands of years of human history. But what do you expect? Susan Stewart, she's another badass out there. I've got to meet her and talk with her and salute Susan. A Huntsville activist from the advocacy group At the Root Collective was there to support trans people. She criticized HB4, which could criminalize librarians for giving inappropriate content and punish those who attend reading events such as Drag Queen Reading Hour. We're not going to take this quietly, Stewart told Alabama.com. We're not going to give up without a fight. We got some more people there. It's a beautiful picture. I love that. She said that other legislation, including DeBoe's What is a Woman bill, also goes after marginalized groups such as the trans community. When marginalized people come together, we can be stronger than the opposition, Stewart said. Auburn Stewart Ian Morelli, 22, told AL.com lawmakers in Idaho recently asked the court to reconsider a 2015 decision that declared right to same-sex marriage. I feel like young people are really the ones that have the fire in them. There are people of all shades, ages, and sizes here. So we need to keep the momentum that ground running in the future whenever we're the ones to take over. Several Democratic state representatives spoke to the protesters at the State House, including Neil Rafferty, Democrat Birmingham, an openly gay state legislator, Philip Insler, Democrat Montgomery, and Marilyn Lands, Democrat Huntsville. Thank you for bringing the love here, Lands said. Think with love. I want the divine spark within each of us. Ambrosia Starlin from Dothan told the crowd she's been an activist since Roy Moore ran for Senate in 2017. We have to go forward on the right path and the only path, Starlin said. We need unity to build our community. We need unity to save our community. Hey, there's Travis right there. There's a
that's a nice picture of our friend Travis. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a real one. Activist and veteran stands outside the Alabama State House Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. Jackson joined a protest at the beginning of the legislative session to advocate for LGBTQ rights. Oh, here we go. Travis Jackson, a veteran and activist from Montgomery, was among several speakers who rallied the crowd with affirmations and chants such as "Enough is enough." I fought for the rights of all Americans, including you brave people here, Jack. Enough is enough. Disrupt the status quo. You are your own dominant, groundbreaking legacy. And that article was brought to us by Willisha Morris. So thank you for that excellent article, Miss Morris. And yeah, I got to attend down there, like I said. I signed up to speak, but I did not get to speak. But that's all right because our trans brothers and sisters were able to speak at committee and what have you. They give you 1 minute to talk. That's about 2 index cards. So it is pretty quick.
Wow.
But so if you go down there, there's a chance you could be skipped if you sign up. And you do get up there, you got a minute. So make sure you're locked and loaded. Yeah. And ready to fire it off. So, yeah. That was February 5th. And shout out to all the organizers that got that done. They did an incredible job. You know, there was a march. There was talking to the committees, talking to the reps and senators there. It was a hell of a thing. And this is just the beginning, y'all. Sure is. We also had, and this has been happening, there's been a few of these now for immigrants' rights, but this is a protest to support immigrants in downtown Russellville. Don't really have an article, got some pictures. We got one of our I think at Albertville. I think that's all. I think Albertville's also had a rally, and there's one up in Huntsville as well. But yeah, the Alabama Coalition of Immigrant Justice. If you're interested in helping out on that front, connect with them. They're the experts, right? They're the leaders. You can also look up getting a red card and knowing your rights. One thing that was said by is he called the immigration czar? What, the homeland, or is that the Homeland Security guy? We got
Homan. Are you talking about Homan?
I think so. He said all these activists and protesters and such, they're way too educated and they know all their damn rights. So,
yeah, that was Tom Homan. He's the acting director of ICE, and he's going to be the border czar during the second presidency.
Well,
no, he was the acting director of ICE. I'm sorry, he's not currently the acting director of ICE. He's currently the border czar.
Yeah. As Jolly Green says right there. Yeah, Holman is his name. Piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, get educated, folks. Get educated. And there are, I don't have them. They're doing several know your rights trainings throughout this month, and I'm sure there'll be more to follow. There's at least 4 this month, and also I believe the Huntsville Bail Fund's going to be working with them doing a know your rights training up here. So y'all keep an eye out for that. And then also down in Birmingham, there's a group, I think it's Adelante, the day labor that fighting for working class rights. So you can check them out down there as well. Now, I think that's got us through the intro. Yeah, there's just a hose pipe of news and information and activity going on out there. And Jason, stop me if you want to say signs, and I'm just going to talk through these. The AFL-CIO launches a department of people for a living, so you can check out their website and help with that, join that. But I love that department of people who work for a living. And hell, that's all of us but the 1%. Yeah. We also got a historic church in DC, a historic black church. They now own the rights of the Proud Boys. So that's that is top tier trolling. I love that.
Yeah, the Proud Boys, the Proud Boys owe the millions of dollars, and they can't, and since they can't pay it, the judge surrendered their trademark to this church, so the Proud Boys can't sell merch anymore without the permission of this church, and all the proceeds have to go to the church.
You love to see it, folks. You really do. We also got our second super prison. The second most expensive, or no, this one will be the most expensive prison in the known universe. I wonder if
you wonder if what now? You're coming in and out. So yeah.
Hey, I told you we were unprofessional. Yeah, I was saying, I wonder if K Ivy gonna put like K Ivy Junior on it. You know, what else you gonna call this one? The with that the Alabama uh, library system, public library service up here. I think March 2nd in Huntsville, there's going to be protest uh, at one of the libraries. Um, more details on that. I don't have an eye out for that. And I believe that's at the Root Collective that are organizing that. Alabama senators got a package of bills targeting the immigrant community, and we actually talked about this bill several weeks ago and read through it. And like one of them is to turn a misdemeanor into a felony and felony A, or I'm not sure exactly how they do it. A B, a D to a C to a B, etc. Yeah.
They're wanting to impose
Leaders.
The one I saw was that they're trying to impose a wire transfer fee on wire transfer funds that go out of the country if they originate from Alabama. So they're trying to get their remittances that they're using to help build their communities and support their families back home.
Yeah, and at the committee meetings on February 5th, they the Coalition of Immigrant Justice, they actually spoke out against that, and the Democrats spoke out against it and how ridiculous it was. But it at least passed out of committee. I'm not sure what its status is right now, but had some beautiful speakers use their 1 minute wisely up there, but yet still came out of committee. Alabama finance leaders say the sugar high is over for state budgets. So they're happy, I guess, that the state will get a crazy reduction in federal dollars coming this way. And there's been some billboards out down Birmingham pointed at Elon Musk and Katie Britt as, for instance, UAB. They're going to lose 100 million. Is it something like that?
I missed this story.
So yeah, I mean, we're losing all kinds of funding. Alabama, being a red state, we actually get back more in taxes than we pay into the system. And, on top of, we'll probably talk some about this, but on top of all the federal jobs that are being lost, and like, Blue Origin, they just cut 10% of their workforce. We had a comrade lose their job. So trying to help people. We're going to try to get ahead of this, but hopefully we'll be organizing around helping those folks find some jobs. So yeah. Oddly enough, even with all that, Kay Ivey, she's advocating for a budget increase to educate. Do that with the loss of with the loss of federal tax dollars and whatnot. We also got, and we mentioned Alltrek and the associated LGBTQ groups down there. I wish I had a list of all of them. That the Alabama Senate approved bill defining gender-based biological sex that passed out of committee, and as we said it, and passed now.
Yeah, it's a law now. Okay, I've signed it in the law. So it's the What is a Woman Act is now officially the law in Alabama.
Yeah, I mentioned 3 weeks ago we went through an article where the Republicans laid out their priorities, and they're with a super majority. What do you expect? So
yeah, Ivy actually called this bill out in her State of the State speech as a priority. And so they fast tracked the bill and got it done quickly and got it to her desk, and she signed it. Now it's a defeat, but it's important not to get completely demoralized. The silver lining here, and it's not maybe a silver lining, but it's just something to think about. The bill doesn't really have any enforcement mechanism. It's just definition saying that there are only two genders and that they're immutable, but it doesn't really pass any restrictions or have any teeth in terms of enforcement. So it shouldn't change the way that you live your life. They can't define you out of existence with the stroke of a pen, no matter how hard they try. This was just red meat for the base. And so I would encourage you to not get demoralized, not feel terrorized, continue living your life, and continue calling your legislators to stop some of these other bills that are coming down the pipe that do have enforcement mechanisms, like HB 67 and others.
Yeah, I mean, like, what would be the enforcement mechanism? They install cameras in the toilets and then have a security guard viewing everybody that goes in the bathroom and doing a genital check. That's, I mean, I could see them trying to get something like that passed, but yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, especially when you look at science and all the different XY chromosome combinations, XY, XXY, XYY, XXYY, super male, super female. I think there's 6 or 8 different combinations. There might even be more than that. But, this is just ridiculous. And like you said, red meat for the base. But I'd like to point out that 54% of Republicans actually support trans rights. So even though this passed, it's not even a majority of Republicans like things like this. So of course, along with the funding for the prison, the Alabama Department of Corrections proposes a $50 million budget increase. So I think that is a lot of that is hiring new personnel, which, all right. Overtime tax exemptions fate to be determined this section. So there was I think Representative Daniels from up near Huntsville, they got overtime exemption passed, which they say costs the state around 200 something million, 240 million, something like that. But it's due to expire, I believe, in June, and they're trying to get it reinstated. But that is one of the few bright spots of the last session that came through. Hopefully, and I know there's a lot of folks out there working 60-hour weeks, and there's a lot of people that are working 60-hour weeks with no overtime because that's split up between 2 jobs or 3 jobs even. But I hope this gets done for the working folks out there, and appreciate Mr. Daniels for pushing on this. We got one of our federal representatives, Representative Sewell, asking him about what access he has to the IRS, and y'all seen Doge and all its shenanigans. It's got its servers hooked up to, it seems, every department possible out there, and somebody would spill some coffee on some of them, you know. One interesting thing I saw is Senator Britt reintroduced a bill at the federal level oddly seems like a good thing, where it would take some restrictions off what charities and nonprofits, how they can invest retirement savings and create funds like 401ks and stuff. So I'm curious about that. Of course, whenever I see a Republican do anything good, I have, or what appears to be good, that's what I think, you know. I'm very suspicious, but I just, hey, what are they going to mandate that it has to be put into crypto? You know, that's where I see something like this happen. But yeah, that's from Senator Britt. And this past week, the case to they got the congressional maps up again. We just had Shamari Figures win a Democrat win a second seat for the Democrats in the state, down in the Wiregrass region. Although he is highly backed up by some crypto bro money, but the legislative maps that were used in this past election, they're up for gerrymandering again. You know, it never ends, folks. And yeah, that's our little rundown. But that's all right. I told you we ain't professionals up here. We're just trying to put some education and news out there, and one up. But we got a little wrap up from the first week. Alabama House wraps up first week, advances key bills on safety, education. Alabama legislature has officially kicked off the 2025 legislative session, meeting 3 times in its first week and laying the groundwork for key policy debates. Talking about veteran support, they just fired 2,000 nurses from the VA. So, hey, thank y'all out there for doing that, as if we didn't have, as if we had too many nurses already. House Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter, Republican Rangeville, struck in an optimistic tone about the state's momentum and the opportunities ahead. I'm excited to have our 105 members of the Alabama House of Representatives back in Montgomery for what will be another productive legislative session, Ledbetter said. Each session presents a great opportunity to address the challenges facing our state, and I believe we have the wind at our backs here in Alabama. Just last week, the nation's report card was released showing that our state has made remarkable gains in fourth grade math and reading. We also now have a president in office who prioritizes issues like a strong economy and secure borders, which undoubtedly places our state in a much stronger position. You know, I feel like he's going to be he's going to be eating some of these words. As lawmakers move into week two, the House will take up the Safe Alabama package, a set of bills focused on strengthening public safety and supporting law enforcement. Uh, saw an interesting bill on that, SB 129. Representative Ed Oliver, Republican, Dadeville, introduced a measure to create the Alabama Veterans Resource Center, a centralized hub for supporting military personnel and their families. Returning to civilian life after serving our country can be challenging for America's heroes. Supporting Alabama's 400,000 veterans will always be a top priority, and I fully believe the Alabama Veterans Resource Center has the power to uplift the men and women who have made great sacrifices for our country. On the public safety front, Representative Rex Reynolds, Republican, Huntsville, is sponsoring the Back the Blue Protection Act, aimed at expanding legal protections for law enforcement officers. That's that bill I was just talking about.
Yeah,
Alabama's police, yeah. Alabama's police officers, sheriffs, deputies, and highway patrolmen should be able to focus solely on protecting our communities. The Back the Blue Protection Act didn't the Back the Blue get categorized as a terrorist symbol?
I don't remember that.
There's something along that. Would ensure that our state's law enforcement professionals can continue carrying out their duties with full confidence that they have our support. As a former police officer, I believe this is one of the most impactful public safety initiatives in the history of our state. I like how they skip the details on these bills. Meanwhile, workforce retention is a key focus, with Rep. Jenny Shaver, Republican, Leesburg, leading the bill HB 309 to provide paid parental leave for teachers and state employees. How about everybody? And I'm pretty sure it's not parental leave. I'm pretty sure it's just for the mom. I don't think dad gets leave on this. Could be wrong, could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure it's just for the mom. And it's not for everybody. It is becoming increasingly difficult to recruit and retain quality classroom teachers and state employees who are willing to build long careers in public service, Shaver said. This parental leave legislation will provide state employees and teachers with the opportunity to properly bond with their children without the added stress of worrying about their jobs. Education policy is also Republican Helena has introduced HB 166, which would ban cell phone use in classrooms and require school boards to implement stronger internet safety policies. Schools already got cell phone usage policies. My kids complain about them all the time. Thanks to the dedication of our teachers and the hard work of our students, Alabama is making remarkable progress in public education. It is crucial that we capitalize on this momentum, and I believe that addressing cell phone use in the classroom will better position Alabama students for success. Numerous studies indicate that cell phone use in schools not only leads to decreased academic performance, but also results in constant disciplinary issues. The bottom line is that while cell phones can be valuable tools for students, we must ensure they do not hold them back from receiving quality education. How about school shootings? How about that holding some folks back from quality education? As the 2025 session moves forward, lawmakers will continue shaping policy that impacts Alabama's families, law enforcement, and workforce. With major proposals on the table, the coming weeks will set the tone for what could be a defining legislative year. The House will reconvene on Tuesday, February 11th at 1 p.m. with a full slate of committee work and floor debates ahead. And we'll get to that one next week. But yeah, a little weekend review. Any of these bills pop up on your radar?
Well, I'm following this back the blue bill pretty closely. That's one of the ones that I'm following. So
Is that the SB 129?
I believe so, and it would basically make it illegal to prosecute police who abuse their powers.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about too. Under existing law, a peace officer is protected from tort liability arising out of his or her conduct in performance of any discretionary function within the line and scope of his or
Law enforcement duties.
a peace officer is not entitled to this protection when he or she acts willfully, maliciously, fraudulently, in bad faith, beyond his or her authority, or under a mistaken interpretation of the law. Now, what existing law concerning peace officer immunity establish a new form of legal protection for law enforcement officers. This new protection would foreclose any claim that seeks to impose civil liability against a law enforcement officer acted recklessly without law enforcement justification, or two, the conduct violated a clearly established state or federal statutory or constitutional right of the plaintiff. This bill would also establish a heightened pleading standard and an automatic stay of proceedings to remain in effect while the law enforcement officer seeks to establish that the protection applies.
So,
in and immune. Go ahead.
So it'll be harder to sue police officers if they abuse your civil rights. It automatically stays lawsuits while offers asserted immunity and facilitates early dismissal of lawsuits that don't meet these new higher pleading standards.
So now this is like super qualified immunity, qualified super immunity.
Yeah, exactly. This is also a bill that Kay Ivey called out in her State of the State speech as a priority for her administration. It's received the backing of, obviously, law enforcement across the state, mayors, unfortunately, politicians from both parties, although the House Democrats have condemned it.
Yeah. So
that's something I'm going to be paying. So I'm going to be paying attention to that bill in particular. I think this is one of the worst bills that will pass this session.
I mean, it's stripping what little protections a citizen or resident has against malicious enforcement by peace officers. I do find it interesting they use the term peace officer. It's very often, I mean, property officer. Yeah, this is State Bill 129, and if you'd like to further read, I'm gonna save detention facility officers as well, law enforcement officers, and that's a new one. I wonder. I feel like this stem from what's going on out in Decatur and the standing and power folks, and
I'm sure that's what they're thinking of. The sponsor of this bill is from Huntsville, so he's from the area.
I wonder where he goes to church.
I don't know.
But yeah, so that's a meat and the potatoes of today. I can't believe we're only at 45 minutes. Jason, what the hell are we doing wrong here today?
I don't know. We're kind of going through things pretty quickly. Well, there's
Maybe
a
we're
lot coming down the pipe, so it's hard to say a lot about as many things as they're passing. Like I looked at an article earlier today about everything they passed just in from 11 to 13, and it's easily a good couple dozen items, most of which are pretty innocuous or innocuous sounding on their face, but there are some scary things in there for sure. But we're moving through things quickly.
all right, this is what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Here's a list.
So yeah, like most of it is pretty innocuous stuff. Allows the board of the Alabama Municipal Electric Authority to pay the chair $2,000 per month, and members of the board $1,700 a month for meetings attended. You know, who really cares about that? I'm sure it's important, but it's not.
I did see an executive order just caused about a couple hundred Huntsville residents with their power bill. They just had to pay an extra $100. And yeah, but we got this going on. We also got a HB 29, which ups the means testing for unemployment.
So yeah, ordinarily you have to claim, if you're claiming unemployment in Alabama, you have to contact 3 potential job representatives per week, and this bill would increase that number to 5. So it's just another pointless hoop to jump through in order to get benefits.
Yeah, I mean, make all your applications out to Doge.
I know, right?
We also got HB 93.
Yeah, I don't have strong feelings about this. Exempt the personal property of members from the Alabama State Port Authority from being audited. So their personal property can't be audited. Okay.
I don't know about this. So they're the State Port Authority, which seems a good place to smuggle things. And, you know, as far as I know, if you're a public servant, you know, at least when I was in the Army and did some other things, they certainly took a look at your personal property. Doge is looking at personal property. They're mad at some people that get paid a couple $100,000 having a few $1 million in their bank accounts. So yeah, we got this is a good one. HB2.
Oh yeah. This bill would require parental consent for vaccinations of children 14 years and older. So if you're 14 and older, you can't make your own vaccination decisions. You have to get parental consent. It's just an anti-vax bill.
Well, hey, welcome back, polio.
I know. I can't believe that of all the things that have become mainstream, anti-vax has entered the mainstream.
And RFK got his nomination passed through, and he's already working on building camps for people with mental health issues and restricted medicine for folks. I was reading on earlier today about that. So yeah, we're gonna have concentration camps down in Guantanamo Bay, and we're gonna have concentration camps up here for folks with mental health issues.
Yeah, he was saying people who were quote unquote addicted to antidepressants and antipsychotics, and I take both an antidepressant and an antipsychotic, and Let me tell you, I'm not addicted to them. There's no addiction going on. It's something I need in order to function. Without it, I go completely off the deep end.
No. Yep. And there's, the cruelty is the point, is it not?
Yeah, it's just I can't believe we would talk. So basically, forced labor camps are people who take psychiatric medication.
Work will set you free. Yeah, Arbeit macht frei, as the Nazis said. They definitely got that Arbeit macht frei vibe going on. We got another one right here, HB 54. Would allow district and circuit courts to issue short-term protection orders when making specific findings of evidence of abuse or neglect of a child. This bill passed 103-0, and it goes to the Senate. I mean, this very well could be something decent to protect kids in abusive homes.
Yeah, it's surprising they don't already have that power.
Yeah, I find that curious as well, because I'm pretty sure they're the ones who make those decisions on that stuff already. So, but where are you going to put the kids? There's already ain't no place for them, the foster care system, or you've got a lot of them out there. There's another one by Matt Simpson, HB 49, would allow prosecutors to seek the death penalty for people convicted of rape and sodomy in the first degree, where the victim is a child younger than 12. This bill passed 86-5. It goes to the Senate. So, this is a horrible crime to think about, and even with that, I don't think we should be applying the death penalty for things. But
yeah, and this is specifically to challenge the Supreme Court rulings that have declared that have limited what you can give people the death penalty for, right? So as it stands now, this bill is unconstitutional, but it would go before the Supreme Court, who might uphold it.
Which is exactly what their plan is. So we shall see what the Supreme Court ultimately says about this. We got HB 38, sponsored by Jim Hill, from a Republican from Odenville, would give prosecuting attorneys immunity when they give legal advice to police. All right. So the prosecutors are getting some, I hope the prosecutors I hope they give them some bad advice, because that'd be some epic trolling right there. HB 43, sponsored by Jim Hill, Odenville, Republican. Jail type institution or treatment institution, and the rest of their sentence through probation. This bill passed 55-44. It goes to the Senate. Wow, there's that last one that had a much smaller split than a lot of these. But I'd be curious as to what A, B, and C felonies can be, because I have a feeling that some of these moving on to the Senate, we got SB 61, sponsored by Senator Kirk Hatcher out of Montgomery, a Democrat, would allow the Alabama Board of Examiners in Psychology to enter into the School Psychologists Interstate Licensure Compact, allowing school psychologists to have equivalent licenses in member states. I like this. This bill passed 31-0. It goes to the House. I mean, if you're licensed in, California or Missouri or what have you, I think being able to come to Alabama and not have to go through the same rigmarole as a psychologist, I don't find that too bad right there. SB 59, sponsored by Senator Donnie Chastain, Republican, Geneva, would allow dependents of active duty military personnel to use military medical records as evidence of immunization in place of the Alabama certificate of immunization. This bill passed 32-0. It goes to the House. Oh my God. So immunizations are good now? They can't keep up with themselves. Portable benefits accounts for independent contractors and gig workers. This bill passed 32-0. It goes to the House.
On the surface, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, I'm skeptical of anything that a Republican does, but this doesn't seem objectionable on its face.
Yeah, I tend to agree on that one. I do. So, House. This is the next day. House SB 79, sponsored by Senator April Reaver, Republican out of Alabaster, defines sex-based terms like mother, father, male, and female into Alabama law. It passed 77-12. The bill was signed by Kay Ivey on Thursday. Yep.
Again, no real enforcement mechanism. It's just one of these definitions bills.
Well, I'm curious if the definition of female, because some ladies can't be a biological mother, right? They just were born and not able to conceive. But I wonder if they apply '39, sponsored by Senator Keith Kelly, Republican, Anniston, would require board members of agencies subject to the Alabama Sunset Law to complete a governance course by the Department of Examiners of Public Accounts. This bill passed 31-0. It goes to the House. The Alabama Sunset Law. I've seen this committee a couple times. I don't know where this terminology is coming from. A lot of what they're handling is licensing. Tons of different licensing. So more of that. SB 36, sponsored by Senator Wes Kitchens, Republican, Arab, would make volunteer firefighters and rescue squads subject to local competitive bid laws and decrease the deadline for filing a notice of protest of a competitive bid contract offering from 14 to 5 days. So that seems good. Local competitive bids, but the decrease in the filing notice of a protest of competitive bid, that doesn't seem good. Yeah. offered by Senator Arthur Orr, again Republican, Decatur, will make some revision to the state's procedures and clarify the role of the Department of Human Resources. This bill passed 32-0. It goes to the House.
I haven't read it, but it sounds uncontroversial.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And it got the Democrat support in it. But again, it's a Republican, so buyer beware. Thursday, February 13th, House HB 76, sponsored by Brian Brinkyard, will use a credit card for official use.
Cool. And only the Fayette County Sheriff. This speaks to the lack of home rule in the state, that they have to pass a specific law to allow this one specific sheriff in Fayette County to use a credit card, instead of letting Fayette County decide what its sheriff can do.
Or every county sheriff can use a.
Yeah, or just making a bill that lets any county sheriff use a credit card. So, like, why Fayette County and no other sheriff? Like, that doesn't make any, like, it speaks to the dysfunctional way this state is organized. We desperately need a new constitution in Alabama.
Absolutely. HB 78, sponsored by Rep. Matt Simpson, Republican Daphne, allows the circuit and district courts of the 28th Judicial Circuit to conduct non-jury proceedings in Foley and Fairhope courthouses. Again, what you were just saying, one of those city, county specific bills. It's like, why not all? Why is it just this? HB 87, AJ McCampbell, Democrat, Linden, increases the expense allowance of the Marengo County coroner from $400 to $1,000 a month. Authorizes Marengo County Commission to approve further increases and authorizes the commission to hire a deputy coroner. Again, bill passed 25-0, goes to the Senate. That's weird.
The next few bills are.
Yeah. But it's weird that it says it passed 25-0. If this was in the House, that means, you know what I'm saying? Like, where's the other 70 plus representatives?
Yeah, I guess they decided not to vote on this particular bill.
Is that even a quorum, though?
I was just about to ask that too. 25 people, and the next one passed 19-0. I guess 19 people is a quorum.
Yeah. Fundraising, Lauderdale County. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the next few bills are basically the same thing, allowing specific sheriffs and specific county revenue commissioners to do particular things, because we don't have home rule in this state. And that was specifically designed to make sure that no local progressive effort picks up any kind of steam. The state's legislature can crush it and will, like they did with the minimum wage increases that cities were proposing a few years ago.
And this just speaks to the fact that, I think something like 70% of county and local elections are up for this year. In your city and area, but power has to be taken at the state level, and there is folks out there getting together working on a working people's policy platform and getting the independents up for the 2026 elections. So y'all keep your eyes out for that. And there's also the Democrats are also out there working, it seems, to get folks in office as well. Anybody who looked at a ballot this last election understands that weren't many Democrats on there, and it seems that they're working on changing that. We've got reworking election and terms around Scottsboro. Lodging taxes out in Dale County. Changing corporate limits of Childersburg. See, this is another one. This bill passed 15-0. It goes to the Senate. 15 people make a quorum. This is.
That
I'll
seems
drop
like a
this.
decidedly low number.
I'll drop this in the chat for Corey there.
Yeah, I can't post anything to the chat. It won't let me.
It's the Alabama Reflector, Corey. Good to have you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome aboard.
We got HB 102, Gunnersville. Local Board of Education allows students to participate in dual enrollment. That sounds good to me. But once again, why not the whole state? HB 230 requires that a realtor provide disclosure form to a customer in writing about how much the realtor is compensated. That's interesting. That, I've only dealt with a realtor once or twice, and I mean, they tell you how much, but sure, an official form, and that passed. Go to the Senate. HB 114 continues the Board of Dental Examiners through October 1st, 2027, so extending the board's mandate. HB 110, medical examiners, continuation of the board, medical licensure commission. Another electrical contractors board extended. HB 116, bail bonding board extended. It's funny here we go. Veterinary medical examiners board extended. This one's interesting. Here we go. HB 89, sponsored by Rep. Maryland Lands, Democrat, Huntsville, provides pregnant women with presumptive eligibility for Medicaid, making them eligible to receive health care benefits for up to 60 days prior to getting approved for the program. The bill passed 102-0. It goes to the Senate. Congratulations, Ms. Lands, on your first legislative victory, it seems. We got a question from Corey here. Why does it feel like these Republicans are actually governing? I feel like a bunch of these folks are Democrats posing as Republican. You have a bit of a point. Some of these Republicans were Democrats probably up until 2010 time frame. So, yeah, your instincts on that are correct. HB 196 allows Marjorie Wilcox, Republican Mobile, allows the county commission to assume control of a county juvenile detention center after an order from a juvenile judge of the county. HB 168, Alan Treadway, Republican Morris, allows the governing body of a local emergency management organization to enter in a mutual agreement with other organizations to receive aid, removing a decision from the director of the local emergency management organization. All right. So see, folks, we had some last night. Tornadoes tore through. I think one person passed away so far. So peace be unto them. HB 52, Danny Garrett, Republican, Trustville, allows contributions to the Alabama Achieving a Better Life Experience ABLE savings account to remain tax deductible through December 31st, 2025. I have not heard of this account. Have you, Jason?
No, it's new to me.
We'll have to look that up. Yeah, let's make a note to self. HB 191. We're almost done, folks. HB 191. Alan Baker, Republican, Bruton, sets conditions for how local governments can enact local sales and use tax exemptions. Oh my God, is this home rule, Jason?
So no, because it's the state legislature deciding how local governments can set taxes and use their tax exemptions, and that should be something that's done at the local level. Like it should be up to Huntsville to decide how they can enact their local sales taxes and what kind of use and how they want to use their exemptions. So no, it's not home rule at all. It's top-down control from Montgomery.
Oh man, almost. It sure sounded nice. HB 45, Ed Oliver, Republican, Dadeville, requires the Alabama Medicaid Agency to cover any non-invasive colorectal cancer screening test assigned a grade A or B under the recommendations of United States Preventive Services Task Force. That's interesting. So I guess they're all worried about getting ass cancer from, you know, the evils that they carry inside themselves. HB 156, sponsored by Rep. Paul Lee, Republican, Dothan, allows law enforcement to arrest people in Alabama on an out-of-state warrant for a felony crime if the arresting officer has actual knowledge that an out-of-state warrant has been issued. That's odd. I would have thought that already happens, but look at me not knowing shit. HB 79, Chip Brown, Republican, Hollinger's Island, prevents board examiners and medical licensing from taking action against pharmacists for prescribing medications for off-label treatments. All right. So that's interesting. From taking action against pharmacists for prescribing medications for off-label treatments. I was not aware that pharmacists could or would do that. News to me. We got HB 161, Craig Lipscomb, Republican, Rainbow City, standardized building codes in Alabama, gives the Division of Construction Management the authority to adopt building codes. Seems sensible. People who know how to build buildings set the standards. HB 190, Rep. Jenny Shaver, Republican, Leesburg, states the role of the State Department of Human Resources and county departments of human resources through the Minor Adoption Code and Adult Adoption Code. Seems possibly reasonable. HB 72, sponsored by Rep. Richie Wharton, Republican, Owens Crossroads, increases the annual fee for the volunteer and professional firefighter license plate from $1 to $10 and changes the distribution formula of proceeds, putting 35% into a firefighter's annuity and benefit program, 35% in a state emergency relief fund for firefighters, 15% for peer support management, and 15% for maintaining the Alabama Firefighter Memorial in Tuscaloosa. That's an expensive memorial down there in Tuscaloosa, but that seems pretty reasonable. HB 27, sponsored by Kerry Bubba Underwood, Republican, Columbia, prevents people who are on the sex offender registry from getting employed or volunteering as a first responder. Okay. HB 243, sponsored by Representative Andy Witt, Republican, Harvest, removes part of the property and construction taxes from private use industrial property, tangible property, and taxable services after June 1st. And requires local tax collecting official and Department of Revenue to collect money deposited in the Alabama Development Fund. Almost done, folks. SB 63, sponsored by Lance Bell, Republican, Pell City, would require law enforcement agencies to collect fingerprints and DNA from any person living in the country without permission and custody. Well, ain't that nice? That seems a bit of an invasion in privacy. SB 22, Senator Marika Coleman, Democrat, Birmingham, would allow the state to take back economic incentives awarded if the company receiving the incentive or a related company engaged in human trafficking violations or violated the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. A thumbs up to that. We like that one. SB 53, sponsored by Senator Wes Kitchens, Republican Arab, would establish a process to determine immigration status contained by law enforcement and establish the crime of human smuggling if a person knowingly transports a person living in the country without authorization into Alabama. So more of this related that seems related to that immigration and the human trafficking stuff of that previous bill. SB 55, sponsored by Chris Elliott, Republican, Josephine, would invalidate out of state driver's license issued without legal presence verification. If I remember correctly, I was at the Senate committee for this, and this is basically somebody comes into the state with a comes into the state with a driver's license that you didn't have to provide certain like records like a birth certificate to get your driver's license. There's a little, it's marked, it's indicated as that type of license, driving's license on there. And U.S. citizens can get that type of license, but this is where folks come in, they quote aren't documented, they have a driver's license, they can be arrested and their car impounded. One of the senators said that if we're going to do that, then at all the
You froze.
if you have this type of license, you need to turn around and turn back. One of the senators from the
I feel like this is going to run afoul of the Constitution. There's a full faith and credit clause that requires us to recognize the licenses of other states, does it not? So I expect that to get challenged. They can't just
but you can be
invalidate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can be a. I was gonna say you can be a citizen and show up and get that type of license. Like, you know, let's say you had a fire, like you're out in LA and, you know, half the city burns down along with your records, right? And you need to get a license again, you know, like now suddenly they're going to impound your car. Like it's not going to just affect, you know, undocumented immigrants.
Yeah, it says it hits everybody. So if it's issued if you live in a state that gives out driver's licenses without what Alabama considers a valid legal presence verification, then Alabama can invalidate your driver's license no matter who you are.
Right. And throw you in jail. And they said the state trooper that spoke, he said they'll let somebody come and pick up your car. You're driving through the state of Alabama on your way to a new home, or you had to move jobs, or you're just passing through to go visit some family. Who the fuck is gonna come pick up your goddamn car? You know, you don't know but nobody. So yeah, some definite horse shit. SB 32, sponsored by Senator Roger Smither, with the use of a machine gun to be sentenced to life in prison and make an assault in the first and second degree using a machine gun a Class A felony, punishable by up to 99 years in prison. It passed 30-1. It goes to the House. Well, What the hell's a machine gun? Like, if you got a Glock with a cigar, you know,
Bill
is
probably has
it
a
considered a
definition.
machine gun? Like, I'm curious how they define it. One, folks. Will you do the honors here for me?
Read the last one.
Yes, please.
So there's SB 48, sponsored by Senator Bobby Singleton out of Greensboro, a Democrat, would provide for the qualifications of members of the Board of Registrars, establish hours of operation, and increase their salaries to $115 per day. Again, that doesn't sound very controversial. It's sort of the bill passed 29-0. It goes to the House.
Yeah. Woo, we made it, folks.
Yep. So that's just what they've done in the past 2 or 3 days. That was the 11th to the 13th.
And we still got 24 more days of legislation left. We did 3 first week, 3 this week. We should be around, 24 more days of legislation to go.
So get on Allison and make sure you're paying attention to bills.
Yeah, and there's I do not have a link, but there's training for the Allison database out there. I think it's coming up on the 20th of this month. Some things you can do. I mentioned this at the beginning. You can do what's called 5 calls. Call your representative. This is at the federal level. You can get with all these, all these things like, hey, I click on Defend the Consumer, Financial Bureau. It gives me updates and what's going on. Gives me what I can say. Man, make it good enough even a soldier can use this. Yeah, Corey, I will drop that in the chat for you real quick. But the state database is Allison. It's like Alabama, something, 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 something. We had a guest to hero with the bail fund. She knew exactly what it was called. But let's see here.
Yeah, if you look up
This
Alabama,
is the site,
Allison,
and it's also got contact information. Yeah.
If you look up Alabama Allison with 1 L, then you'll find the state legislature site, and there's a link on there that says bill search, and if you click there, it will list all the bills, and you can click on the bill, and it will tell you the text.
Jason, are you a lawyer or something? We got Corey asking you that.
I am not a lawyer. No, I've never taken a law class. I know next to nothing about the law. So I am a software engineer by trade, and I just am really interested in politics and try to stay up on it.
Yeah. Jason is the brains of the operation, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, but all that.
Yeah. But yeah, we got 5 calls you can do. There's Allison training. The main things we want you to take away today is we've got, and I'm gonna try to bring them up again one last time before we go. We've got protests all throughout the state happening. This one in Huntsville, Big Stream Park, 4 to 6. We've got in Birmingham.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. So I don't have the information about the protests, Sandy, but let's see what I can find out. Birmingham was at, if I remember off the top of my head, was at Lynn Park from 2 until 6. And I don't remember when the Mobile or the other protest was.
Oh, here I go. Yeah, We the People Bow to No Kings. This is happening at Lynn Park, 2 to 6. This is all Monday, folks, for President's Day of protests. Got, and you know, share this information with everybody you can. Indivisible is, and I do not have the Montgomery flyer, but there is a Mobile. They're supposed to be protesting in Montgomery, and they're down in Mobile at noon at the Government Plaza, 205 Government Street. So this is a combination, a coalition of various people and organizers and organizations, and y'all need to spread the word. There's going to be more to come. Last thing, keep an eye out for this month is boycott of all economic activity on the 28th, Friday, for 24 hours. And you can check out jointhepeoplesunion.com for more information. And that is one thing that's going to be fundamental in our fight against fascism, is wielding collectively the economic power that we do have. And that's going to be strikes. That's going to be economic blackouts. That's going to be boycotts. And, you know, we're looking at making as a list of things within the state to not buy, people not to buy from, i.e. politicians with these small businesses and whatnot. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Jason, you got anything else to add?
You know, let's say attend your local protests. Check out 5051, or it's 5050.1. So instead of .com, it's .1. That's the website for the 5051 protests, where you can learn more. And join DSA.
That's right. Join DSA. We got chapters popping up in Mobile, Montgomery. We got them established up in Huntsville and Tennessee Valley, and Birmingham through Central Alabama. So yeah, with that, folks, all the power to all the people. We the people break our chains together. Solidarity forever, folks. Thank you.
Solidarity forever.